Kaufman.
Yes.
Correct. There we go. Ami Kaufman is a resident, telling us what is important, what is not. He tells me everything I need to know. And what is and when it comes to news this morning, what do we need to know?
Okay, let's update a little about the Shia-Sunni rift between Iran and Saudi Arabia, of course, and the severing of ties between those two countries. First of all, we're hearing about more countries that are taking sides. For example, Bahrain and Sudan are also cutting their ties with Iran, and the UAE is downgrading its ties with Iran as well. But I want to show you some op-eds that are coming out from Arab media and Persian media. This one is from Fars News, the official Iranian news agency.
So we know where this is coming from?
Yeah. By the way, they opened their opening sentences that Riyadh is the terrorist capital of the planet, as Fars News is saying.
It's not no longer the world. It's the planet. Okay.
Let's see what they're saying here. Their editorial. The Sheikh Nimr execution, which is how this whole thing basically started, was Shia cleric that was executed in Saudi Arabia. Execution is a catalyst, a tipping point that will certainly fuse together all segments of the population beyond religious affiliations and political affinities in one giant revolutionary wave. It will feed the flames of dissent and ultimately bring down the Saudi regime. That's what Fars News is saying.
Farsi affiliated with the Iranian regime, we should know.
So their days are numbered, apparently. And of course, Arabiya News, which is a Saudi-backed newspaper. This is an editorial, an op-ed from Faisal J. Abbas, who is saying, "It is shocking that Riyadh is still seen with dubious eyes when it is Tehran, according to U.S. State and Treasury Departments, that is providing refuge and assisting al-Qaeda leaders both logistically and financially." And of course, taking some swipes on the human rights record of Iran. If you ask me, both of these countries really have no right to talk about human rights. Neither Saudi Arabia nor Iran.
No, what I want to think about out loud this morning is, let's hope that this remains in the trading insults over paper level.
Let's keep it that.
Let's keep
some
it
sort
there.
of Cold War.
Exactly.
Although, as we know, it is playing out, as you say, you mentioned all the time. It's playing out in Yemen. People are dying in Yemen. It's playing out in
Syria. It's playing out all over the region. So let's hope that this latest spat between Saudi and Iran stays in the paper.
Yes.
Moving along.
Keeping in the Middle East, this one is from the Times of Israel. Interesting. It was all over the Israeli press. The UN monitor for human rights in the West Bank quits over no access to the West Bank. This is a man who tried to monitor human rights in the West Bank and said, "Hey, I can't go there. The Israelis aren't letting me in." So this man, Makarim Wibisano, he's an Indonesian diplomat, said that he is quitting. Israel said that his resignation was a result of the lack of balance in the mandate he had been given, which is, of course, Israel has a very big problem with the UN Human Rights Council. Right. The mandate of the Special Rapporteur is clear and an unbalanced one. That's what Israel is saying. And so are the conduct of the Human Rights Council and the content of its resolutions. As long as this state of affairs persists, Israel's attitude will reflect it.
Oh, and sadly, I think this does not bode well for the PR, or as they call them,
another PR disaster, basically.
But in the U.S.
In the U.S., we're back to the U.S. and back to Oregon and that militia that has taken over, and guns. Good to point that out. The FBI, as we can see from this Washington Post headline, the FBI is taking the lead on the investigation over this armed takeover. We have a report about it. Let's check it out.
Let's take a look.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
The politicians can pretend it's something else, but Donald Trump calls it radical Islamic terrorism. That's why he's calling for a temporary shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until we can figure out what's going on. He'll quickly cut the head off ISIS and take their oil. And he'll stop illegal immigration by building a wall on our southern border that Mexico will pay for.
We will make America great again.
Okay, actually, what I just showed you is what my next item, basically. It was the new Donald Trump ad, as you can see. It was "Make America Great" by keeping, as we can see from this Washington Post headline, by keeping the hordes out. Just to keep an update on what I was talking about before, because I don't think we have time to show that VTR, if I'm correct.
Yeah, but we can update on Oregon.
Is that the two ranchers that, for this whole thing, why this whole thing started, Dwight Hammond and his son Stephen, reported to prison yesterday, on Monday, and will serve their term. These are the people that were accused of arson, and why these militiamen took over this ranch in the first place. So they are going to jail to serve their second term, basically. This is why people are so angry in Oregon and in Northern California about this, because of these people who think it's unjust to put these people in jail again after they already served their terms.
They already served their time, but that said, to me it was interesting to see also how this transpired down without firing a gun, without firing shots in that respect.
Yet.
It's true to say.
And off to a totally different area, Hong Kong. There's reports about between 5 or 6 people now that have disappeared in Hong Kong from a publishing house, a Hong Kong publishing house, because they are going to publish a book, Yael, about the love life of China's President Xi Jinping. The last man, his name is Li Bo. He's working for the Mighty Current publishing house, has gone missing. And so far, from October till today, I've seen, I don't know why I'm seeing different reports, about 5 or 6 people, but up to 6 people have been are disappearing.
Just disappeared.
From this publishing house, apparently because they are going to publish.
That publishing house came out, brought up that book about the Chinese.
Yeah, it has published other magazines and articles critical of the Chinese regime, but apparently this book is really scaring the authorities in Beijing, and allegedly people are being abducted by the regime. We, no confirmation of that.
It's always fearful to see, administration as such. They always say, where they ban books, or where they, punish publishers of books that they don't want to see published. Where is that leading? I want to thank you, Ami.